Bonjour tout le monde. Vous me manque. I miss you. So I am here at home, as you all are, I'm assuming. And hopefully you're all safe and adapting to this new online learning experience, which has become our reality. So I miss you. I'm so happy to connect with you this way, though. And I wanted to let you know what you can expect coming up in the French course and give you some tips and tricks. So, this video is meant to reach out to you, let you know I'm here and the ways that I'm able to support you as you're trying to work through the course. And also just kind of remind you of some tools that you have available to you that you've always had available, but you may have forgotten about. So let's dive in. So, the first thing I wanted to remind you about is that you have access still to Google Classroom, to Quizlet, to YouTube. And I don't want you to forget those things. And you can, just as easily as I can, look up things online when you're struggling. So, for example, if there's something specific that you're struggling about and you're working through the course and you want to look up a YouTube grammar tutorial, feel free to do that. We would watch Learn French with Alexa, for example, together in class sometimes, if we had a grammar point to dive into, and I would use Alexa's videos as a starting point before we would practice. And so, what I'm going to do for you is to help make things a little bit easier. Is I'm going to send all of you a message, which you've received at this point if you have the link to this video. I'm going to send you a message that will have the links to a handy Quizlet set that I would like you to use before the lesson that we're going to talk about today. And I would also, I'm going to send you the link to an Alexa video that will help you understand the concept of IR verbs. So, first of all, the vocabulary that you'll need to know. So, this lesson that I'm going to talk about today is a Unit 1, Assignment 3. The reason why I'm starting with Assignment 3 is it's the first time that you're jumping in with grammar. To this point, you've been reading about culture and answering questions about the French culture. So, you're diving into some grammar now. So, in case you're confused, I thought it was a good time to jump in with some resources for you and some support. So this is Unit 1, Assignment 3, and the title of the lesson slash assignment is Les verbes réguliers en IR. So regular IR verbs. So what you need to know is, first of all, you've learned this skill of conjugating verbs, changing verbs to match your subject, when we talked about regular ER verbs in class. Remember we talked about, and I had a whole list in the front of the classroom that had 20 some verbs on it. Verbs like écouter, regarder, jouer, manger, parler. All of those verbs end in ER. And so they're all used in a sentence in the same way. In other words, when je is your subject, you drop the ER ending and then you add an E. When tu is your subject, your ending would be ES. You've already learned this concept, so we're just building upon what you've already learned in this lesson. So now what you need to know is the IR verb endings, because when you memorize the endings, then you can conjugate all IR verbs. All of a sudden you have this whole other set of verbs available to you to use in writing, in your conversation, etc. So it's a helpful lesson and I'm excited about it, but you might need a little support. So the first thing I want you to do after you're done watching this video is I want you to take a look at the Quizlet set that I provided for you. In that Quizlet set, you'll get some conjugation practice, and you'll also practice with the definitions of the verbs. That way, when you go in and start the lesson, you're not going to be overwhelmed by the definitions. You're not going to be unsure of what it's even asking because you're not sure what the words mean. So I want you to practice with the vocab first, just like we would do in class. In class, I would present new vocab to you. You would then practice on your own on Quizlet, let's say, or with verbally conversations with me. And then we would go ahead and get started and dive into the grammar of it all. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to scaffold it. In other words, like we build this level first, and then we talk about this skill, and then you're ready for this skill. We're going to scaffold those skills just the way we would in a classroom. So the first thing I want you to do, step one, when you're done with this video, before you dive into this lesson, I want you to practice with the Quizlet set. The verbs in the Quizlet set, you can turn on the sound and you'll be able to hear the sounds as well. But since I'm here with you right now, let's practice the verbs that are going to be in this lesson. So, répétez après moi, s'il vous plaît. Repeat after me. First verb, maigrir, maigrir. Then we have grossir, grossir. Réussir, réussir. Réfléchir, réfléchir. Applaudir, applaudir. Rougir, rougir. Grandir, grandir. So again, that's just for pronunciation practice, and you will have the Quizlet link attached to the email that I'm going to send with this link to the video, as well as I'm going to put that on Google Classroom. You will have access to that. And then the other thing I want you to do before you get started on the lesson itself is I want you to watch the video for conjugating IR verbs as well. That way you have all this background knowledge diving into the lesson, and hopefully it will make things a lot more clear to you as you're working. Okay, so then at this time, let's go ahead and get started on our preview of the lesson. Here you see the lesson. There's a dialogue at the beginning, and then it just tells you what you're going to be able to do, which is conjugate regular IR verbs. Here you're just linking the verb on the left with what you would typically associate it with. So réfléchir, to reflect or to think about what makes the most sense on the right. So try your best with that. Then you have another little dialogue to listen to. Again, more listening practice, so it's always good to hear native speakers. Then you're going to have a matching puzzle activity to practice your vocabulary. Again, there are your vocab words, and I want you to, like I said, practice with Quizlet first so that this part's then really easy. So you have to read and pick out keywords that you understand and match them up with keywords that you understand that make sense. So, je finis souvent le dîner. That goes along. You can see the word dinner there. You can make a connection with cognates that you know, etc. So I just went through a couple examples for you. I feel like if you really take some time reading both questions and answers, that you'll be able to figure those out a little bit better. Then there's some text that explains to you the conjugation of IR verbs, which if you followed my directions and you already watched the Alexa video and you know exactly what's going on here, and then this should just be review. So they give you an example of choisir, and then there's a little grammar slideshow that would be something that I might use in the classroom. So that's a helpful resource as well, and that's going to have all your endings on it that you'll be able to refer to. So please take notes as a recommendation that I have as you are working through this program. So again, we have some more conjugation examples. We have some example sentences. And then you have your assessment. So it says conjuguer, choisir pour compléter les phrases. So you're going to conjugate. You're just going to choose the correct form. Conjuguer pour compléter la phrase, again, to complete the sentence. And then there is a pattern in conjugating regular IR verbs, so you should be able to answer that question easily. Some other verbs, which you already know, again, if you've studied the Quizlet set, and here they are. So we have all of the verbs that we've talked about as being these types of regular IR verbs. And then you have some more practice. Here you're going to compléter les phrases avec le verbe qui correspond le mieux au contexte, so complete the sentence with the verb that makes the most sense for the context. In these sentences, you have to not only know the definition of the verb, but figure out which form, and then put those things that you need for the sentence and put it all together. So you are, again, showing off your skills, not only your French language skills and figuring out what things mean, but also choosing the form that you would need for that sentence. So that's how you navigate those questions. So you have a review and you have some more practice. And then, yeah, you can click on that document that shows you how to put accent marks into your writing. So make sure that you click on that PDF so that you don't get points off for missing accent marks. That is really important. So I want you to take a look at that, okay? So there is how you do it. You're going to use an Alt code. So you'll push Alt and then a number combination, and then that will give you the letter that you need with the accent. And that's about it, I believe, for the lesson. I hope after that preview that this lesson will make a little bit more sense to you and that you now have a little bit more confidence going into it. So please message me, reach out to me if you need help with something. If there is something that you would like me to specifically make a video on, I will do that. I am enjoying this process of learning how to make instructional videos. I took that upon myself. Oh, and look what else I took upon myself, a big old coffee stain. While I was talking you through your lesson. So, yeah, that's pretty much typical for me. So, anyway, good luck with the lesson. Bonne chance. You don't really need it. You can do it. You got this. Let me know what you need. And also, I'll continue going through the course and figuring out the best places for me to provide you some support. So I miss all of you, and I hope you're well. I'm thinking about you. Ciao.